Good. Okay, being recorded. Super. There he is. Hello there, John.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys. Yep.
Hey, see if I stop video. I hope, yeah, it's recording.
Yeah, it's recording. Yeah. So, John, we've been talking about cameras. Where do you have your camera so that you look so good? Do you have it down below or do you have it up above? Because you
Above,
can look into
on
people's
top.
eyes.
My camera's on top.
On top? Oh, okay. All right. So you just got to learn to look up and not
All
look
right.
at the person you're speaking to.
Okay. Well, I'm very happy that at least we have one female participant. The last time we had no female.
Well, I've got one coming for you, but she couldn't make the meeting tonight. So that's why I sent you that note to make the copies.
All right.
Okay.
And let's see here. We have, let's share my screen. There is one here. So there is one feature here about sharing my screen that my wife was showing me yesterday. I hope I find it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you've got it up
Yeah.
there. You've
All
got
right,
your
good.
PowerPoint up. You did good.
Good deal. So what are we trying to do? I summarize it in one sentence: a collaborative of traders and programmers towards success with funded accounts. If you don't know what funded accounts is, it's about using other people's capital instead of risking your own money. It sounds very good, of course, but there is a cost. But the cost is very little, extremely nominal cost. The problem is the qualification. And that's why the image here you see on my screen is about proving yourself. Because it's not about your money, it's about your abilities, isn't it, guys, for those who have been part of this? And so when we use the prop, are you all hearing me?
Good here.
And so using up the props form is the big deal for them. So we have to prove ourselves. And how do we prove ourselves? We have to have the best tools. I like to think about the markets as fighting Mike Tyson in his best days. You know, those of us who are over 50 can remember that nobody could win against Mike Tyson. And that's the same thing we have here against the markets. We have to put a lot of resources together in order to fight together. And that seems a little bit not common sense because we're also in competition against each other, right? On a global basis. But I think as a group, we can come up together for our put our resources together instead of risking our own capital. And so, whatever that was. What is the rationale? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Whatever this is happening here now, I never heard that before. So what is the rationale for putting our money together, put our resources together? Not money necessarily, but our resources. As traders, this is much like getting the royal family to collaborate. You know, think about Kate and Meghan. If each one had a strategy to make $3,000, and if they swapped their resources, then they could make 6,000. And so how about you get
Assuming
the other
both
guys to
systems
collaborate?
do work, yes.
Let me just make sure that my video is recording because I said this was going to be recorded. Let's see. I don't see anywhere here that says recording. Stop share. Oh yeah, I think it's recording. So when you think about I use the analogy of the royal family because, you know, we hear that family does not collaborate with each other, right? We see them fight in the news, or is just a game to grab attention of the media? I don't know, but you're going to see that getting traders to collaborate is what we hear about what's happening in the royal family. It makes sense, but it's not easy to put it together. How hard is it? Well, let's see how hard it is. There are many websites, forums for people to collaborate their resources. The major one is futures.io, initially named Big Mike Trading about 12, 15 years ago. And it sounded very good. You pay $100 for one-time lifetime membership, and you're going to get resources from traders around the world. The problem is I never got anything worth more than $100 in indicators or strategies. So the reality is, on a big website with thousands of potential traders, you only get small peanuts of collaboration, nothing major to base your trading on. So when I had this idea, I forgot about futures.io, and I went ahead with my idea. 4 days into it, I thought, whoa, there are already websites out there, and basically nobody gives anything worthwhile in those sites. So how will they contribute something significant in my group? But just 2 weeks into this, I believe that the small group setup is way better than trying to set up a website with thousands and thousands of people to collaborate, because there is more trust in the small group. So going back to the royal family example, that if each person contributes $3,000, something, a strategy that can make $3,000, then each person could potentially make $12,000. So let's put together here, if I have a strategy that makes 3,000 and you have a strategy that makes 3,000, and then someone else also brings that strategy, and we can use those multiple strategies in one or multiple accounts. And so we have a potential of making 12,000 instead of just 3,000 from our own strategy. Now, putting those resources together requires a little bit more logistic, and I will go into that in a moment. But I think here you see that when it comes to trading, instead of you just relying on your strategy for $3,000, well, let's get your strategy swapped with someone else's who also has something worth $3,000 in monthly performance, and that makes us make more money. Even if we don't hit the 12,000, coming up with a 50% hit rate would still be 100% better than depending on only one strategy of our own. So my observations in the current experience, as I said, the small group where we all working all for one and one for all mentality is working out very well, because it just works that the participants are more feel like there's more trustworthy, and so they are able to validate each other's ideas. And those who don't have a strategy to contribute, because that's the case of the majority, you don't have a strategy, that's fine. You are part of the group as a validator because you see what's going on with the other people who have strategies running, and in a way that you are able to see the results. And so this is where we put in a little bit of money, a little bit of time, and the synergy is good for everybody in the group at what level of participation that you can bring in. One example is one of our guys in the group. He did a monster trade 2 days ago that got him $6,000, and everybody was able to see how he was able to bring his account up to pass the validation, the evaluation of $15,000 in just 8 days. He needs to trade minimum 10 days, and so he just took it easy the last 2 days to complete the 10 days of evaluation. And the guy who runs this account, I had an hour conversation with him before he joined the group, and so he knows what he's doing. But those who don't know are learning something from someone who knows what he's doing. So when I set up my trading guide, I had this visual of a trading pursuit, indicators, automated trading, trading education, but this is actually a satire. This image, I don't mean that I'm going to go into all details of 100 indicators. There are websites out there with 100 indicators, but I get lost on those websites. So I'm not looking at many, I'm looking at quality of a few. And so trading education, I'm not interested in making a single video on trading education. I'd rather watch videos on TED Talks than trading education. That is, initially you see websites that say we have 200 hours of trading education for you. It sounds like a great thing, but in the end, after 200 hours, you still like, I'm just beginning to grasp this. And then after 1,000 hours, you're still like, whoa, what am I doing? Am I a trend trader, counter trend, support and resistance? And the ideas are all over your head for the next 20 years. And I think a lot of people, so my goal here is on this image, it's not to produce a trading education, because that cycle of trading pursuit, indicators, automated trading pursuit, and it's really a satire here, because what we want is focus on the target profit, how we get to it. And so let's go on to see about how we uncover those opportunities to see what's really working right now, right now, instead of education forever. So we have a group of 20 people. Actually, we have 15 in the past 2 weeks that since we put this together, and we have room for 5 more people. And so I want to give a special thanks to our most senior member, Vic Theory. He's going strong. Probably he can beat me on a race. And also hats off to him for helping me unravel the bot. We will talk more about the bot in just a moment, about the resources. So number one is the zoom in profit. That is my own strategies. But I'm not here to advertise my strategies. I want to uncover everything that is out there that is better than my own. And we have, other people's contribution of bots that I'm testing. One of them is trades only 50 minutes a day. And as I said about the TTP bot, is probably the most widely sold automated strategy on NinjaTrader platform. So I hear that it sold hundreds of copies. And so congratulations to that website, but we want to know how it really performs in our own account. And Vic Theory is really putting together something that would take me forever to do. If I ever had the inclination to, because the time, as you know, I only have 24 hours a day. I wish I had 48. And so I also have a trading partner who trades on a Forex account, but that's not available for US customers. We trade that overseas, especially in Australia broker, ICM markets. And there are lots of ideas coming from other vendors. Thursday, for example, there will be a big launch by NS Neuter, which is a very big website. And I hope they put something worthwhile for us. We're going to be checking on that on Thursday. So how I plan to put this all together. Right now we have a group of 20 and we're going to add 5 more and hopefully females there because we have none. And so with the, and so in that main group, we have various pursuits of strategies for one account model with the Lilu trading that I'm going to talk more about soon. And we have validations of ideas and systems with a lot of experienced people. But for additional people after 20, I'm going to create individual groups specifically for individual strategies. For example, if it is just the bot that trades at 9:30 a.m. to 50 minutes, then I'm going to have a group specifically for that. Another group specifically for the TTP bot. TTP stands for Targets Trading Pro. And something, if you're interested in MT4 MetaTrader, they would have a group separated for that. Why is that important for me and for you? because I like to see things at a glance in 30 seconds. If you come to my group and you get lost, something is wrong with my group, the way I structured it. I want you, whatever group investment strategy that you decide to join, you should be able to understand the dynamics in 30 seconds. I like to summarize things on a 3x5 card. If my idea does not fit a 3x5 card, it's too big, too long, too complicated. Who taught us best about that? Albert Einstein. Look at the theory of relativity and his theories. Of course, you can read the book and understand everything and have the page that he ever wrote, but he's able to summarize the understanding of the universe on an equation that is less than an inch long. So I believe that whatever I do, I should be able to summarize and give you a complete understanding up front on a 3x5 card. So that's how I plan to run my groups and my whatever things that you're going to be joining me. And so for the strategies, we could spend all evening talking about my strategies or many other strategies, how they work, how they perform, how they don't perform, when they break down. And this is an endless pursuit. But basically, we have focused on just one chart, just one time frame, just one contract, or if it is multiple, just one simple thing that you can all see the same and tell the same story. For example, this is a chart that runs on an 80 range, and the NQ on 80 range, and so it has 3 targets. And if I decided to change this to another format, and I do have a different format for a different purpose, but I maintain the same start time, maintain the same settings, the same story, so that I can always be telling the same story instead of having multiple stories, different days, that is hard for you to follow what I'm doing. Now, if you want to expand from what I do and create your own, finesse your own strategies, most people do that, by the way, with experience. Once they know what they are doing with my strategies or anybody else's strategies, then we go on to expand the scope of the strategy or strategies and charts. So there are multiple and endless possibilities, but I like to keep my story very simple. For example, for several months, I ran this strategy on ES, but now that I'm more focused on the Lilu accounts and we need more of performance fast, then the NQ runs faster than the ES. Of course, it also has potentially higher drawdown and can lose more money fast as well. But for the purpose of getting the account funded, it's better to work at a very high speed, and that's what the NQ provides. But if you look at my strategy, I launched this in January, the T-stop trend, and so I have maintained the same settings. And the only thing I changed recently is focusing on the NQ instead of the ES. And so working with me is about getting to the bottom line as fast as possible. And let's see more how we accomplish this. So I'm looking for collaboration, and a lot of people, not many, but at least 5 with really good strategies have contacted me. And one guy sent me his performance over the past few months from March. And so he looked at a few days at random what he made in his account with his strategy. And if he added my code to his strategy, he said he would triple his return. And so he will he might be watching us now on his cell phone, but he was in Las Vegas, and he will likely join us in the meeting tomorrow, in the group tomorrow, to explain about how he's doing really well with his strategies, and he's going to add my ideas to his strategies and then contribute to the group. So whatever I do, this can become really big, but I want to keep it very clear that I have my set of strategies, and we're going to be adding as many good strategies as possible. Going back to the beginning, if you can get William and Harry to collaborate, then they would be better off together. And so our traders, we would be better off together if we collaborate. So overall, this is just a warm-up meeting. We had our kickoff meeting with explanation, a lot more things, and that is available if you haven't watched. And now let's discuss about the Lilu and the alternatives, how we make money with funded accounts. So far, I gave you a brief overview of the strategies that we use in order to accomplish results. And where do we, but how do we put those together? In what fashion? With our own money? No, we use funded accounts. How much does it cost? It's a fraction of what it would cost you to fund your own account. Of course, there are some drawbacks, but the drawbacks are actually work in your favor. The number one is the drawdown. It's bad to get a drawdown on a funded account because it's going to reset and you're going to send you to square one. But if you had a drawdown in your own account, you would also be sad about the loss in your own account. So with the Lilu, we take, for example, the cruise plan that costs $305 for the subscription. But if you are funded the first month, you don't pay for the second month. And then the ongoing cost is $88 a month for platform fees and data fees. That's a very reasonable cost, because if you were to do it on your own, it could cost you more. Now, there are other plans besides the cruise, but I use one, again, as a standard so that I can always be talking the same story instead of changing different versions. And so the Lilu trading, Lilu has competition, one-up trader, earn to trade, and many more. And one question that people have is Lilu better than the rest? In trading, I find that there is nothing as better or best. There are only choices which carry different advantages and disadvantages. But when I added up everything, I decided to go with Lilu first, and then later on add one-up trader and earn to trade for diversification of our group accounts. But to start off, Lilu is even better this week because it's giving a 50% discount. So it's a very good time if you're considering joining a prop firm. The Lilu cost is amazing. I think this is my weather recording outside, guys. Sorry about this. Whatever's happening to the weather. So I don't know which button to press. I'm sorry. I have so many things there. Oh boy, just a second. Sorry about that, whatever this is. So with the Lilu option as a good starting point, if you were to start today, it would cost you, $155, give or take, for your first month. And that is, when it comes to trading, that is like buying a Starbucks coffee. Really is. We could talk more about the benefits of this, but basically, if you went to trade on your own with your own capital, you would see that the chances of losing $150 or your cost of $150 would be absolutely just to get in the door. And so with the funded with the prop firms, with the cost model is the best way that anyone can start. And I give this advice whether you have just a couple $1,000s or $2 million. Even if you had a lot of money, I still recommend the Lilu or the other prop firms for you to start, because it will require you to have a very high level of discipline. Okay, let's see someone raised hand here. Can you share the link? I don't remember the link of. I'm reading the message here, and Alex asked for, can you share the link? I don't know what link you're asking for. So maybe I'm late to this question here. And Mark Aurelio raised his hand. Okay, the Lilu, let me grab this link here. All right, there it is. So as a disclosure, my link has a kickback of about 10% that Lilu pays me, but that's not why I promote Lilu. I promote Lilu because I believe it's a very good proposition. I would, in fact, regardless of commission, I have promoted Lilu, and now they have come up with this 50% discount that is phenomenal discount for you to get started. All right, let's see the next slide. There is a link for Lilu's question and answer, so you can get those. You can find out about the whole thing of how it works directly on Lilu. And let's see. So my value proposition with Lilu Trading and all the other prop firms is to minimize risks and maximize possibilities. If you become a good trader based on the requirements of evaluation and funded accounts, then you are never going to regret getting involved with trading. Whereas using your own capital is a risky business. And here's my contact, tpguy.net@gmail.com. My WhatsApp number, 650-784-6408. And let's see about the why automated trading. I have the strategy that I had shown you previously on that chart. This is the back test of the past 45 days. And the reality is, if you are sitting in front of your computer watching the charts and enter those trades, I think it would be very difficult for you to hold through losses and wins, because when there is a win, you want to pocket that and run away, so you may miss the second win. Or when you lose, you are afraid of taking the next trade, the next signal. You're going to always be second guessing yourself. So if we gave the indicator signals to 100 people, we would have 100 different results here, wouldn't we? Some for better, some worse, some would be about the average, but it would be very difficult to get uniform. It would be impossible to get uniform results with just the signals. So whatever you do as a manual trader, it takes years. And for most people, I would probably say 99% over the past 20 years that I have known manual traders, 99% fail rate. And so with the automated trading, it does not always work, but these would work if you let your charts run, would work for most people, or even for close to 100%. If there is no system failure, you would get the same results. And so that is one major thing about automated trading: uniform results. Because it's the machine working for you instead of you working with your emotions. And the other thing about automated trading is better use of your time. I had that listed here. Okay, here it is. So better use of your time. The things that you can do while your computer is running your charts. I watch TED Talks. I love them. I could live forever watching TED Talks. I bake sometimes I will bake a banana bread while my charts are running, right? and you can clean the cat litter or walk your dog. I do things like call my insurance agent, something that I have to remember to do. And when my charts are running, I don't have to watch my charts all the time. I can come up with ideas about helping my neighbors switch to solar energy, because the government has a rebate of 26%. Even if you don't buy the solar system, you can still get the rebate and fund your trading, because that's free money. If you ask me today, what is free money on planet Earth, I would say solar rebate, because you switch your payment from the utility company with the same dollars that you are paying your energy, and you put that into your solar plan, and you still get the rebate. So no money out of pocket, and you walk out with thousands of dollars. That's what I've been spending my free time talking to my neighbors on switching to solar energy. And now I'm putting together a plan to fund some accounts with solar money or solar rebates. And so so I think that's about it, what I can tell you guys on the better use of your time. And you can think of 100 things instead of trying to figure out tick by tick whether it's a good trade to take or not. Now let's talk about the costs, right? I'm trying to level the playing field so anyone with a little bit of money to spare can try futures trading, no matter whether you are already. I have guys in my group that have many years, and they agree with me that the prop funding firms is the best way to use their money. I mean, on a very low risk and still maintain a high potential. But people who are just starting, don't spend too much money on this thing. So let's go with the prop firms. And so I put out 30 licenses for people to use, and those licenses are taken. But I'm making it a very low cost to use my software by giving a 55% discount on lifetime license. So you pay only $300 for one license and $150 for additional. And if that is a problem, we can still work further details on circumstances. And so my licenses are very reasonable cost. Now there are other licenses by other vendors that will cost thousands of dollars if necessary to buy them, and we see a justification of results. But this is going to be done as a group, not you alone putting out $5,000. But that's another story for the group to discuss as those strategies come up. Someone asked me, what is VPS? VPS is virtual private server. Instead of using your own computer to run the charts, you run a screen on your computer with a remote computer. That's called a virtual private server. So this remote computer has 99.9% uptime, so the internet almost never goes down. And also you can access that computer from anywhere in the world. Very convenient, and it never shuts down. So your computer, it's not like your home computer that you may have to reboot it. So the virtual private server is the best way to secure your make sure that your software is running properly. And there are some expensive ones, but for our purpose, $30 a month will do. And if you pay, the most you need to pay is $50, $60 if you want to get all the whistles and bells. But I'm very happy with the $30, and so are most traders. And one question is, can we use interactive brokers for futures bots? Yes, you can use futures interactive brokers on NinjaTrader. So NinjaTrader is available for interactive brokers, but that is only for your own funding your own account, not for funding prop firms. Prop firms use their own systems, not interactive brokers. You want to go interactive broker, you open your own brokerage account there. And then you can connect with NinjaTrader. However, I have not used interactive brokers in 10 years, so I don't know how well they are performing with the NinjaTrader. That would be a discussion for people who are more up to date on the interactive brokers. And let's see here about the other costs. Lilu, private firms, and regarding my time, So I run a multiple activities and collaborating with developers. So my time is very tight. And when someone needs help from me, if I can only give you 6 minutes, then you're not going to be enough for you. Why? Because you cannot fight Mike Tyson, the markets, with just 6 minutes of help. And if I have 1 hour to give away, but if I give it for free, I will have 10 people who want a piece of that hour. So I will have only 6 minutes. That's a bad business for you and for me. It's a lose-lose proposition, because in 6 minutes you don't get enough, and so it's going to be frustration. So instead, I try to give as much as I can to the group. But if you need some hand holding, you don't know how to install things, it's going to take you hours and hours and sometimes days. But if you pay my fee, I can get you up and running. For example, how long does it take to install a VPS? If you follow the manual instruction, it can take you 5 or 6 hours, because if you take one wrong turn, you're going to get to Kabul before you get to your VPS running. But with my instruction, you get it running in 15 minutes. Same thing if you try to set up, if you are new at this and you're going to set up NinjaTrader and Lilu accounts, it can take you 2 days to get around all the issues that are going to come up. But with my setup, you are up and running in 30 minutes. So, the fees that I charge for my time, you will make it back in saving your time tremendously, because not only I have done this for many years, I respect my time and your time. And so I have prepared something that I think is streamlined, how to do the same thing over and over, the same assembly line, right? So I work like assembly line to get people running, instead of creating multiple versions of different ways of doing things. So then if you need help on a personal basis, then you need to buy my personal package assistance, which is $350 and gives you use of the software for 40 days. However, if you buy the software now with a 50% discount, and then you just add another $100 for my time, and I'll help you set it up. I think that's a really good deal. And so I think I covered about the cost and time. Now about questions. Let's see what questions and answers we can come up with here, guys. Whoa, what format are your strategies in? So the format is NT8, NinjaTrader 8. And I use Ninja.co indicators. And now there are all the strategies by different sources from collaborators that are coming out to the group, but those are going to be dealt on a case by cases. Any further questions? All right, joining the group. All right, WhatsApp. So you send me WhatsApp message 650-784-6408. So with the WhatsApp, after I finish the 20, then I'm going to make plans for additional groups, but it will be specific to each strategy, as I spoke previously. And with the well, by the way, with the group, something that I covered in the previous video, there is a cost of $30 per month, but I'm not taking that $30 for myself. We are using that money to fund the Lilu account model account, which means that if we make money from that account, then you also have participation in the profits from the Lilu accounts or whatever prop firms that we use. My goal is to add one account per month at least. So over the next few months, we're going to have several funded accounts, starting with the $30 per month from each participant in the group. And let's see, what are the question here? What are the initial investments? Yes, part of the group, I said $30. And by the way, if we come up with something really good that's worth $1,000 or thousands of dollars, then we'll talk in the group about putting that money together to buy external resources. But that's going to be based on a group consensus, or whatever the word consensus and majority doesn't work. It has to be on a total consensus, right? And so the 930 bot right now, I'm using it in the account for the group, but I'm not distributing that strategy to the group yet until we have confirmed it. And also I have to a deal with the person who made that I have to clear on the 930 bot. So yeah, we may sell that strategy with the partner who created it, but right now we just put there for 1 week, and I was very impressed with the previous month performance, but I didn't have time to test it over many months. And because it's 1 minute, 50 minutes, 1 minute chart, 50 minutes per day, it will be easier to watch it over the next few days and make sure that it's worthwhile for you to get your hands on that one. I find it's risk return very, very attractive, but I'm not going to go into details right now over that so that we can cover much more of your questions. I have already covered that in the room. Now, can the software get copied from the VPS? Let's see, copied from the VPS. You can copy and paste software. You can copy and paste anything in and out of the VPS. But the thing is, everything when it comes to trading software is tied to the number of the machine ID. So NinjaTrader has a unique machine ID for each computer and for each VPS. You cannot copy and use in multiple computers, multiple VPSs. It's only tied to that. In my case, I charge only $200 to issue a second license if you want to use it on a second VPS or second computer. So whatever you pay for my strategy, if you need a second license, I have to cover my own licensing costs. So I charge an extra $200 for issuing a second license. And is it possible to connect for a few minutes after the Zoom call? Let's see. Yes, you can connect with me on WhatsApp after the Zoom call. Let's see more question here. NinjaTrader is used to connect to prop trading and run the strategy. Yes, there are many other about 10 different platforms besides NinjaTrader used in the prop firms. But in our case, our software runs only on NinjaTrader, so we only speak of NinjaTrader. And could you explain the profit is shared from Lilu? So the profit sharing from Lilu in your own account. So let's talk about your own account. You open an account with Lilu and you have profits in the future, you're going to keep 80% of the profits and Lilu 20%. Now, there are some limitations because initially you have to build a cushion of the amount of the drawdown, of the trailing drawdown. And so you're not going to get money out of Lilu account in your first or second month. You have to consider about 3 months and beyond before you see money. But if you do keep your account in good standing, as far as not letting it draw down, the money is very attractive. There are traders making thousands and thousands of dollars with only a few $100s of initial cost at risk. And this is a fact. So let's see the next question about the Lilu account that we share in the group. So are going to use that money mostly to cover our cost of running and testing different great strategies. And the people who participate, even outside of the group, those who don't belong in the group of the 20, will still have a very, very firsthand knowledge information of what works. So I don't want to add more people than 20 because it's very difficult to coordinate a group of more than 20 people. However, even if I have 100 people, I can still serve those 100 people with very focused information on what you need. So for example, if we run a strategy in the group that 20 people have qualified it as a very good investment, then I'm going to tell the other 80 people in my other different strategies and investment that this strategy has been vetted and proven to work for our main group. So that's how I plan to make this thing work, with 20 as the front line of the battle, and then different groups taking on different aspects of different strategies. If you want to work just with TTP's bots, for example, then we'll focus only on the group with that setup. If you want to focus only on the 930 bot for 50 minutes, then we're going to have a group just for that one. That way, it makes my life very easy that I can coordinate 10 different groups on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is an amazing communication app. If you don't know WhatsApp, it's really, I mean, I've run Skype and many other things, and I find there is nothing easier to communicate as a group than Skype. I mean, I'm sorry, than WhatsApp. And let's see another question here. Make sure I didn't miss any question here previously. Now, most of all, I have testimonials from people, including 2 people who are now with us in this meeting. And my idea is transparency. I work based on one thing. I don't have all the answers, but I know people who have the answers. So I don't pretend I have the answers for everything. And so I rely on the power of the group. But I do have a very good mental recollection of things and people that I meet and I talk. So I am able to recall things mentally where I find resources. And I get very frustrated when I forget something or don't find my notes. And I've been very blessed with a number of people in this group over just the last 2 weeks, because I have collaborated with traders over 12 years, but I never made a formal group as I have now. And the first 4 days when I made this, I thought it was going to be a disaster because nobody was going to give any meaningful collaboration. After all, who wants to give your very best, right? Something you have worked on for years. But I have found that my level of transparency and bringing people with one purpose instead of just trying to collect fees has served me well, that in just 2 weeks I've been able to, right now I'm not having enough time to follow on all the good leads that are coming up as far as possibility of systems. And of course, some of them are not going to pan out, but since I've been in this business for a long time, I'm also able to shoot down a few of my collaborators who send me links, and I'm able to respond to them very quickly and say, hey, look at the problem here. This does not work for this reason. I already know that it will just take your money. And so I have also been able to save people money and time by showing them the problems that are behind. You know, back in 20 years ago, I was a car salesman for Saturn and for Honda. And when you sell a car, a salesman knows everything about the car, but the salesman cannot tell the customer everything about the car because otherwise he might never sell the car, right? And so I draw on that comparison in this business, that a lot of vendors are going to show only what they want to show. But I try to show everything. If something does not work, you're going to hear it from me first. Why is that important? Because I think when it comes to trading, we need to eliminate what does not work so that we can focus on what works. And as long as we are trying to trick people on what does not work, then we are not able to spend enough time on what works, or are not able to explore enough what works. And the other analogy that I use is the bikini analogy. This is especially for guys that are not interested in buying bikinis. They would be more interested in seeing what's behind the bikinis, right? And so when it comes to trading, it's like a bikini that you only see the front, but we want to see the whole thing. And so in my group and in my way of showing things is we have the whole enchilada and we peel this in every way imaginable. So I cannot promise you profits, but I can promise you that this is the most transparent setup you will ever find, or that I have been able to find. And some people in my group can vouch for that. So this is the most transparent way of getting to the bottom of trading. Promises of profits, legally and technically, nobody's able to make. But this is the most transparent and low-cost approach that we can come up with. Not necessarily low cost as the base, but minimize cost and maximize the possibilities. Okay, the meeting tomorrow. We don't have a specific time for meeting. This is the good thing about the WhatsApp, guys. It's 24/7. So trading rooms usually have a time to close because they are calling on trades during market hours. So we don't run a trading room. And so there is no time for opening, no time for closing. You can post your messages, you can read your messages anytime you want. And so when I wake up, I look at whatever messages I need to respond to, and most people also respond to each other's messages according to what they know. And so it's a 24/7, but it's not overwhelming because we are very focused here. We are not calling on trades, okay? So please don't post anything regarding best trading tips. We don't want that. That's not what we do. And we don't teach trading either. Why is that important? Because if you go fishing, you cannot get to the lake and tell the fish, hey, I just spent 200 hours watching videos on how to fish, so now I'm gonna be good at fishing. It does not work like that. Trading is something that you have to spend time fishing, not reading about it, fishing. Can you read about it? Of course, and you must initially. You need to understand the concept, but 200 hours and 2,000 hours make no difference. And so my idea is not to run a trading room, but to run an experience room. That's what I call it. We have questions and answers to be answered based on experience and what's working right now as far as the Lilu. Oh, by the way, we are very focused on one mission, and that is the mission that I posted on the very first slide. We are about, our focus is about funded accounts. We want to have success at funded accounts. So all our conversation, all our processes are based on this mission, and specifically with automated trading. Because if it is manual trading, it can vary from day to day. And so not going to be able to really create a uniform story, a standard. That's another question here. Oh, that was a question about the meeting time, right? So anytime, once you join. And how do group members collaborate? Do they meet daily? That goes back to the same question. We are collaborating 24/7 as questions come up. However, we don't want to ask questions that are too specific to your personal situation. There are two things about the personal here. One is you can send me a private message. So if it's not entirely related to the mission of the group, you can send me a private message. And that's very easy to accomplish on the WhatsApp. And so now if you need a full setup about your goals, how you're going to proceed and how much money, so there are questions that I give on a general basis, but if it gets too personal, how you should run your setup, then you need to pay up a little bit in order to get a 1-hour consultation one-on-one, so that I can frame a strategy based on your personal goals. And let's see here. Question: can the software installed on the VPS be stolen by those who manage the VPS server? Well, that's an interesting question. I never heard of that. So is it possible? Probably, but it seems like the people who run the VPSs are interested only in the VPS business. They are not interested in the software that they run. So I think it's a chance that I think the planet is going to go very bad when that happens, because I never heard that before. Okay, as far as someone think that the software was stolen from the VPS, and even so, it's difficult to run that software in another setting, because the machine is going to change, machine ID is going to change, and likely will not work. So each software licenses specifically only for that VPS. All right, and is that it? We are now about 5 minutes into the 1 hour that I had programmed. It's been a pleasure. And most of all, I want to say big thanks to number one. I'll say that the people that have come into my life the last 2 weeks have made a very big difference in how I'm going to see the project into the next 2 months and 2 years. And I think that for those people who join us, they will find no better pleasure. First of all, we're not looking for you to spend thousands of dollars and take risks that you shouldn't. When you come to if you don't know enough about this, the setup of funded accounts, you're going to realize that low stress is the way to go. And low stress means low risk and maximize your possibilities. All right.
Well, thank you, John. This is Charles.
Yes,
So
Charles.
I'm going to go back and review. So the next meeting is going to be at some point in the future. Is there something tomorrow or this week, or is it just we wait until the next month's meeting that you set up on the service?
Let me raise my volume here. Are you asking about more meetings like this?
Well, yes. Yeah, I'm just curious. So I'd seen something about a meeting tomorrow, or asking about that, and then
Okay.
of course Meetup has meetings, and I'm not sure what's the next time that we may have.
So on a daily basis, 24/7, the WhatsApp group is not really a meeting, because the way the WhatsApp groups work is you just post your question, either text, images, voice, video, however you want to present, and then you get answers for those, and whatever communication that I have going on, and I give a recap of the account and strategies and so forth. So we post those on an ongoing basis as the need comes up. Now for this weekly meeting, I will schedule another meeting probably for I don't want to commit to every week, but I want to commit on a every other week basis.
Okay, thank you. And I do apologize. I was somewhat distracted during your presentation, but it started off as a collaboration. Let's work together. Everybody can benefit from one another. And then it moved towards you offered your product or your current system.
Yeah.
And then also I kind of missed can we just join the program to get involved? And on the WhatsApp, is that how we reach out to you without making the immediate commitment? And then as we learn more, then we can commit?
Okay, so not everybody in my group has bought from me, and if you watch my first meeting, you will hear about this. That my software is available for those who want it, and those who have bought it I believe that everyone in the group who has paid for my software, and it wasn't a very, very high amount, a relatively low cost in the market, reasonable amount. So everybody's happy with whatever they paid, but I am not making my software the primary chief of this project. I'm making my software available. That's what I have now. And I am in search for the best software if it exists. And so I sell my software because that's what I have to sell, but no obligation to buy it in any way, shape, or form. Now, if you find that it is interesting, worthwhile running, and by the way, I'm also giving, I already gave 30 licenses, but the problem with giving the license away is other than the 15 people are in the group, but the other 15 people who took the license, 10 out of 15 probably are not doing anything with it because it was free. They just took it. Now they, sitting on license that could be used by somebody else. I reserved those licenses that I have to pay for, but NISA agreed with me that I would give out 30 licenses for 60 days. And so I am also willing to give as much as possible, but I have a limitation on the licensing that I have with NISA. And so by all means, I don't want anybody to buy my software as the primary basis for this project because my software, guys, has limitations. And I've said it, that it has a 50-50 chance. And I'm looking for something that is higher chances. Now, when I say 50-50, it can be much better than 50-50, but I'm being very conservative and not give you false hopes about my software. But the people who have used my software are happy with it. It's just that I like to keep it low key, and you buy it when you find that it is a good value. So number one, let's come up with the best software that is not my own. That's the purpose of the collaboration of this group. Does that make sense?
Thank you, John. Yep. And you mentioned going back to the first meeting. Where would we find a recording of that first meeting?
So my YouTube Zoom in Profit. That's the name of my. Let me.
Thank you. That'll certainly help.
I'll get that. YouTube. Hi guys, good evening or good morning if you are in Asia. Good evening. All right, this is the, okay, we don't need to listen to that now, but all right, here it is.
Shall I just post the link in the chat? I found it.
Yes, I did. I posted the link in the chat. And by the way, I have spent, and especially with Vic Thierry's help, I have spent, we together as a group or as a team, we have spent an enormous amount of time on other people's, other vendors' software, a lot more than my own. So I want my software to be the best, but right now it's not. And so I'm taking my software with caution. However, it has produced some decent results. And so I find that as an attractive basis to keep on improving. And then in the meantime, I really would like to see whether there is any software better than my own. And if we can determine that as a group, I'm not alone, you are not alone, and so much better for all of us. I think that's it, guys. Have a good evening, and I'll see you in the room or in any other way that you want to communicate. Bye-bye.